gotta help them take those freaks apart.
All right, brother, finish them all.
Take them out.
Chances are that unless you're some kind of crazy film aficionado or were born sometime in the late 60s, early 70s, you've never seen The Warriors. You never saw the movie. It doesn't even exist on your radar. That's really too bad because it's actually one of the better just sort of crazy action films of the late 70s. It was a real cult classic and it's a hell of a movie. But that also doesn't matter in the case of The Warriors the game, which was just released by Rockstar Games. The Warriors is basically a beat-em-up based on the film itself, but it also works completely as a standalone product. Like, you don't have to have seen the movie at all to understand any of what's going on in Warriors the game. All told, this is just one of the better pure action games of the year. The basic plot of The Warriors, the movie, was that this gang that represents Coney Island in the late 70s, called the Warriors, is just one of like a whole hell of a bunch of crazy gangs just sort of roaming around the streets of New York City. This one gang called the Gramercy Riffs and its leader, Cyrus, decide that, hey, we want to try and get all the gangs together, form one big gang, then we could like own the city. So they get together, have this big meeting. Cyrus says, can you dig it a few times? Everybody's all way into it, and then somebody shoots him. He's dead. The Warriors get blamed, and basically the whole movie followed their dangerous trek back to Coney Island trying to get away from all the different gangs trying to kill them because they think they killed Cyrus. The Warriors, the game, it starts out at the meeting, sort of where the movie picks up, but then it just sort of goes way back in time and kind of focuses in on how the gang got started and sort of how it kind of came up through the ranks, taking on the other Coney Island gangs, and basically became the force that it was. Because the script is so well written and because it does add so much depth to the characters, you actually care about the plot, maybe even more so than you would if you just watched the movie.
I dig.
As you might expect in The Warriors, the bulk of what you'll be doing is fighting. The basic fighting engine here is pretty simplistic. It's got a few different attacks, ground attacks, grab attacks, a few combos you can kind of pull together. But for the most part, it's not so much about the attacks themselves as it is kind of the havoc you can just kind of wreak in the environment you're fighting in. A lot of these brawls are actually really big. Like you got, 9 to 10 guys on one side and then, another 9 to 10 on the other, maybe even more depending on, where you are and how much is going on. And as stuff's going on, the two sides are just going at it and they're just beating each other senseless, knocking the environment around, breaking stuff apart, using weapons. It just gets real hectic real quick, and it's pretty cool actually the way it does it because it makes the fights a lot more unpredictable. But you don't have to just brawl the whole time either. This isn't just like a basic beat 'em up where just waves and waves of bad guys come at you Final Fight style and then, you just move to the next section. When you're not fighting guys, you can just kind of wander around Coney Island in between missions, steal stuff, mug people, do side missions, things like that. But there's also a lot of story missions that are based on things that aren't just fighting. There are chase sequences where you're either running from a huge swarm of another gang or maybe you're trying to chase down somebody. There's these tagging missions where you, playing as the artist of the gang, Rembrandt, go around and just do some fat throw-ups all over New York City. And there's even a few stealth sequences where you got to kind of be sneaky and hide from tougher gangs or just more gang members or whatever. There's more than 20 missions in the game for the story, but there's also a bunch of side missions and there's also some unlockable mini games and a 2-player co-op mode. The co-op works basically how a co-op mode in a beat-em-up should. You plug in a controller, press start, and then you just take control of another guy. That's pretty much it. There are a few other multiplayer mini-games like a King of the Hill and sort of a Capture the Flag variant, but none of those are really that great. They're just kind of fun distractions. Although, there is one in particular that is fantastic in concept, which is this side-scrolling beat-em-up game called Armies of the Night that you unlock when you beat the game. And I'm not even going to explain it, just watch. If by some chance you have actually seen The Warriors and are a fan of the film, you'll be happy to hear that The Warriors, the game, actually does make great use of the film license. It really nails that kind of almost pseudo-post-apocalyptic vibe that the movie kind of went for with New York City. So everything's just like real gritty, grimy, kind of nasty look to it. It's just real dark, real kind of just melancholy. Well, the art style and the basic mayhem you can cause in the environments is pretty cool. Visually, this is not really all that great looking of a game. Whether or not you've seen the movie, you should probably check out The Warriors if you've got a sort of a taste for the mature content, can handle some real gritty fighting and a whole lot of swearing, and just sort of enjoy general action games as a whole. If you love beat 'em ups or you love the movie itself, then you should definitely check out The Warriors because it does both concepts very well.